At an event this morning, Republican House leaders confirmed details of an agenda they call Commitment to America. In addition to its focus on the economy, crime, and illegal immigration, the commitment's policies emphasize defending the unborn, protecting parental rights, and upholding religious liberty. The question is, will it help Republicans take back the House this November? Joining me now to discuss this and more is Republican House Minority Whip Steve Scalise. He's a member of the House Committee on Energy and Commerce and represents Louisiana's 1st Congressional District. Steve, welcome back to the program. All right, did we lose him?
Yeah, Tony, can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead, Steve. Welcome to the program.
Great to be back with you. Appreciate you having me.
All right, so tell us about the Commitment to America, the plan, and how the rollout went this morning.
Yeah, the rollout went great. We did it at a steel manufacturing facility right outside of Pittsburgh, and we wanted to get into real America, get away from the bubble of Washington, and talk about the issues that people care about. What you're seeing in Washington is this far left socialist agenda. Joe Biden, Nancy Pelosi, completely detached from reality. Kamala Harris says the border's secure. Joe Biden goes on 60 Minutes and says inflation's pretty much stagnant. It's over 8% and it's crushing families. And so when we had this rollout today, we also had a town hall meeting with real people, and people were talking about the problems they're facing with inflation and how it's making it for them to put food on the table. We had a local sheriff there that talked about how the open southern border is even affecting a state like Pennsylvania with all the fentanyl that's coming into his community. He talked about a recent death of young kids from fentanyl. We're seeing it all across America. So we wanted to not just say what we're against. We don't like this far left socialist agenda, but we wanted to show the country what we're for, to lay out a bold conservative vision to confront the problems families are facing. That's what the Commitment to America is. It's a document that we're going to be running on in every district across America. But then if we are able to get a Republican House, this is what we will do. This shows you what the first 100 days, the first 6 months of a Republican House would look like, the kind of bills that would go through committee and be passed through the House. And let's make this an issue in Senate races. Pennsylvania, Dr. Ross.
I think we may have.
Where is Joe Biden on these bills?
Steve, you're fading in and out. I know you're headed to catch a flight, but I want to play a clip of Steny Hoyer and his response to the rollout this morning.
Kevin McCarthy and Republicans are standing up, making a commitment to America. Don't give me a commitment, do it. I don't want to hear your words. What I want to see is your action.
I'm not quite sure he does want to see the Republicans deliver. But, Steve, that is one criticism, that these are priorities. They're overly general and lack any specific policy plans. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, because there are a lot of bills, very specific bills. And, interesting that Steny Hoyer would say that, because every week I do a colloquy with Steny Hoyer. So at the end of each week, Steny Hoyer and I debate the differences between what they're doing on the House floor because they're in the majority and what we'd like to do. So I've presented him very specific bills, for example, to lower energy costs. And every week I've presented those bills. He has yet to bring any of those bills to the floor. A Republican House would bring those bills to the floor. My colleague from Louisiana, Julia Letlow, has a specific bill called the Parents' Bill of Rights. That's also part of our Commitment to America. Democrats refuse to bring it up, but among other things, it says that parents would have a right to be involved in their kids' education, to be able to get the curriculum for their schools. And these are some of the same parents who were called to by the Biden administration. And of course, Nancy Pelosi has been blocking these bills. So I'd love to see action on the floor on all of these. But right now, the Speaker of the House is Nancy Pelosi, and she will not allow any of these to come to the floor. So there are a lot of very specific bills. When we talk about energy production, there's not a single bill to lower energy costs. There's a number of bills. You deal with permitting reform. You deal with lease sales. You've got to build more pipelines. Joe Biden killed not just the Keystone pipeline, but he's rejected every other pipeline that would move fossil fuels through America because he's against American energy. So we would have a number of bills on each of these issues to fix the problems they created. So let's let the country make that decision. And of course, Nancy Pelosi today called it extremist. So I guess Nancy Pelosi thinks it's extremist to secure America's border, to stop those 100,000 young people from dying from fentanyl. Of course, she wants abortion on demand up until birth, paid for by taxpayers. That's the extreme position. That's what we're fighting against.
Yeah, let me just highlight some of these areas that the Commitment to America covers. You talked about the crime, you talked about which includes the border, you talked about the family education. That's a key issue. Religious freedom is also contained in here. You mentioned the sanctity of human life, protecting the unborn and their mothers. Financial transactions. We're seeing a lot of this wokeness in the business community, in the financial community. This is designed to draw a contrast between Republicans and Democrats as voters begin to cast ballots for the two parties in this fall's election. What's really at stake in this fall's election? What do voters need to know about?
Tony, I think people are losing hope. And when I go to swing districts all around the country, I was in over 25 districts during the month of August. And you see that same despair. People are angry. They don't like the direction of the country. But the real concern, Tony, that people have, and you see it too, people wonder if we keep going down this path of socialism and trillions of dollars of spending and taxes and doubling the IRS, will America still be that land of opportunity? Will people still have the same chance at the American dream tomorrow, 10 years from now, as we do today? And it's in doubt. It's very seriously in doubt. That's going to be on the ballot this November. So I think it's very consequential. I think people recognize that, the enthusiasm level for people coming out to vote. They love the candidates that we have because a lot of the candidates are people that have great military service background, people from different walks of life that want to be a part of saving this country and allowing our kids to have the same opportunities we have.
Final question for you, Congressman Steve Scalise. We're up against a break, but where can people find out more about the Commitment to America that the Republicans rolled out today?
You can go to commitmenttoamerica.com, and that has not just the kind of the broad brush objectives, but also a lot of the details. Some are bills that are already filed. Some are things that would go through a committee. And look, people haven't even seen a legislative process because Pelosi shuts Congress down and writes her own bills. Why don't we actually have the public be able to participate in that again? That's going to be part of the Commitment to America.
All right. As always, Congressman Steve Scalise, great to talk with you, and look forward to seeing these policies put forth and enacted into law.
Thanks a lot, Tony. Appreciate it.